This is question 46 from section 1 of the 2016 TSA paper. In this question we are asked which of the options most closely parallels the reasoning used in the above argument. So let's look at the argument, it's very short. It says, in order for it to be possible to rain, clouds must be present. And then the second sentence says, the forecast is predicting clear skies, i.e. no cloud. And then it says so I'm treating this as the conclusion. Therefore, there is no chance of rain, i.e. rain isn't possible. So I'll put this in the terms of being not possible because the initial condition was about rain being possible. So what's the form of this? It's talking about a necessary condition. It's saying clouds are a necessary condition for rain, and there aren't any clouds, so there can't be any rain. So the first sentence says clouds are necessary for rain. No, there are no clouds, and therefore there's no rain. So the form we're looking for in the options is something is necessary for something else. So you might see this in the form, for this to be possible there must be something else, or this can only happen if this already happened, something of that form. So words like must and only are often included as a necessary condition. We want X to be necessary for Y, then we want a negative, there are no clouds, and then we conclude, since not X, we also have not Y. Okay, so now let's look at our options and see which of the options has this form. Okay, let's look at option A. A says the temperature in the fish tank must be at least 25 degrees for the fish to survive. So this is a necessary condition. It's saying being at least 25 degrees in the tank is a necessary condition for the fish being alive. So here we're taking X to be the tank is at least 25 degrees and Y is that the fish are alive. But then for it to be this form, we'd expect the next part to be the tank isn't at least 25 degrees. It says the fish are alive. So that's saying, instead of saying not X here, it's saying Y is true. So that means it's not of the right form. So let's go on to B. B says that a solar eclipse can only happen at the new moon. So again, this is a necessary condition. It's saying something can only happen if something else happens. So being the new moon is a necessary condition for having a solar eclipse. So that means we're looking for the next sentence to be that there isn't a new moon. And that's good. It says there's no new moon until next week. So in particular, there's no new moon at the moment. And then we're looking for the last part to be there's no eclipse, and that's also what it says. It says there's no solar eclipse today. So it looks like this does have the right form. But let's just quickly check the other answers. C starts with a scab only forms when platelets in the blood have clotted. So this is a necessary condition, it's got an only. So it's saying platelets clotting is a necessary condition for a scab forming. So the platelets are the necessary condition and the scab is the consequence. But an issue with this is the second part is in a conditional. So rather than actually coming to a conclusion, it's just saying if something happens, something else would happen. It doesn't come to a firm conclusion. And also, we'd want the next bit to be there are no platelets, but it starts off with if you don't have scabs. So it looks like this isn't in the right form. Now let's look at D. D starts with pipes at risk of bursting, so they might burst if the temperature is below zero. So that's not a necessary condition, because it isn't saying the pipes can only burst when the temperature is below zero. So it's not giving a necessary condition for anything. It's a may statement instead of a must or an only. So it looks like D is definitely not going to be the answer. E starts with deciduous trees lose their leaves in autumn. So it's not clear whether this is a necessary condition or not. It doesn't have a must or an only. It could be intending to say that deciduous trees can only lose their leaves if it's the autumn, in which case it would be a necessary condition. So we'll try this assuming it's a necessary condition and see what happens. So that would mean X would be it's autumn and Y would be the trees are losing their leaves. But the fact it mentions trees potentially losing their leaves in winter suggests it's not taking this as a necessary condition. In any case, let's look at what would have to come next. What would have to come next would be, it's not autumn. Instead, what it says is autumn is late this year. So that might mean it's not autumn at the moment, in which case we could conclude the trees aren't losing their leaves at the moment, but that's not what it says. Instead, it goes on to say the trees will lose their leaves at a different time. So it's not of this form. And that means this isn't the answer. So if we go back, that means the answer to this question is B.